coming to you live from the studios of 100.9 FM WCHq and WCHqFM.com. This is In the Studio with your host, Gavin Castor. .9 WCHq Louisville live in the studio. Zack Stefanski, beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, you guys sound really good.
Thank you very much.
That's kind of a backhanded compliment, isn't it? You know. Wow, Owen, you got a great mix going on there, man. No, I love your sound. I really do.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
If you look at our Facebook Live video, Zack has a huge collection and
Yeah.
he's got his own microphone set up and everything, which is really, really cool.
Yeah.
So it's your sound.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and we when we're practicing and stuff, it's typically in my basement. We'll run an in-ear system as well, and so I just like to try and I don't know. I just think all the stuff is really cool, and I like accumulating it, and so why not use it at our performances?
Well, sure.
Yeah.
If it's not too big of a setup, and it wasn't. I mean, you guys got set up, and we did our first sound check in a half hour. So
yeah.
it
Wasn't
worked
bad
out
at all.
well.
Oh yeah. Yep.
So is your basement? Is that where your studio is?
Yeah, typically, that's where it is. But sometimes I'll go on site or to other people's studios to work there. But honestly, I really don't do it very often, or at least as often as I would like to. But I've met some good friends. I've made some good friends doing it because you really get to be recording someone. If you're not comfortable with the person, it can be difficult.
Yeah.
To get the sound that you want out of them, or help them to discover the sound that they're trying to make. And so you gotta be nice and chill. And so it's a good environment to make some friends and things like that.
Yeah, it is. And of course, this town is full of beautiful people.
That's true.
So that makes it easier.
That is true.
I don't know why, but the vibe of the city that you're in at the time, whether it's Nashville, Los Angeles, or New York, or Atlanta, or Seattle, the vibe, that vibe comes into the studio with you. And if the town is full of arrogant people, you're going to get that person in the studio, and it's going to be a tough time.
Yeah, for sure. And I find that at least with most, probably 9 out of 10 people I meet in Louisville, they've all got a good attitude and a good vibe about them. And no one's trying to hold anyone back. And so the Louisville music community is pretty close knit, I would say.
Oh yeah.
And we all like to have a good time.
Yeah.
So
like to help each other out too.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's no point in just doing it for no fun.
Yeah.
I guess.
It's funny because we have this attitude like we're this tight knit kind of small community here, small pond, and it's not like our big aspiration here is just to be able to make a living at it.
Yeah.
Which is beautiful.
Yeah.
We're not out there to get rich, and we think, well, Louisville's kind of off the landscape a little bit, so we just have fun, and develop our talents best we can, and meet up with guys like you, some great audio engineers, and produce a fantastic product. And there are, this station is a testament to all the great products going out there.
For sure,
we have some amazing bands, and
yeah, definitely, yeah,
amazing CDs going out there, and. Yeah, your CD sounds fantastic too.
Well, thank you. Yeah, that was all done in the basement, and these guys pretty much all played on it as well. But yeah, it'll start as me just kind of writing the tunes, and then I'll bring it. Sometimes I'll bring it to the group, and we'll actually hash it out. And sometimes I just have them, play to the track or something. Or sometimes they're just not even on it. It just kind of depends. Fancy Boy was about kind of getting them all on it, and then the second one I released last year called Portland was about getting away from them, so I didn't even let them listen to it before it was completed. And those are the last 2 songs that we'll hear.
Yeah,
there's quite a bit of a difference, but I think they're still cohesive and they sound really good together, in my opinion. Yeah. You got some great talent in your band. Oh yeah,
and we've and we'll go into more depth as the night goes on.
For sure.
But I wanted to ask you this question then. Has there ever been a time, because I know when you're more than a writer, you're a composer, which is somebody who writes for all the parts. But have you ever brought a song thinking it goes in one direction, going in a direction, and you introduce it to the guys, and it kind of tilts to the left or to the right, and you think, that sounds even better than what I had?
Yeah, I mean, that's probably the best example of that is the song that we just played, I think, because this, like on the studio version, there's like an acoustic guitar, there's all sorts of right now for just different types of synth patches and things that I would need like 5 synth players to do.
Yeah.
And when we play it together, me on acoustic on electric, it just feels out a lot better than us trying to force the studio version into reality with acoustic guitars and all that sorts of stuff. So but that pretty much every time I bring them something, it changes, but it's always for the better.
Yeah. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. In case you're just tuning in, you are listening to In the Studio here at 100.9 FM WCHq Louisville and on WCHqFM.com. We have our Facebook Live video playing right now. And make sure if you're viewing it, don't view it just on your phone. Put your earbuds in because the sound is coming straight out of our board. So, these guys have an amazing, amazing sound. And we'll go into some of your inspirations as the show goes on.
Mm-hmm.
We just talked about the one that you did the sound check on.
Yeah.
And you're going to play that one, right?
Yeah,
I
of
hope
course.
so.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So our guest tonight is Zack Stefanski and his band, and they are going to be playing at our open house at Apocalypse Brew Works. The event starts at 2 p.m. Sunday, April 15th. It's this coming Sunday. We are really, really excited about it, and we'll get into more of that right after this next song.
Great. All right, this next one is called On Your Own. It's basically a make-believe story that I like to think of it as like a son and a father having about figuring out your own way through life. But honestly, you could interpret it whichever way you want and put whoever you want in it. So here we go. I know you better than you think. The words, they don't mean anything. You may not follow in my path. The foundations they laid at your are things as easy as it once was. Oh, it's all just a matter of time. I know these emotions you have, and I know that you'll find me out on your own. You'll find me out on your own. Whether or not you know that you have grown. Whether or not you know that you have grown. You know me better than you think. But you've never been aware all along. It looks like flowers, feels like leaves. It embeds itself within your every part. Hindsight may one day drive you blind, but you'll never ask forgiveness from me. I know these questions you have.
100.9 WCHq Louisville, Zack Stefanski and his band.
Oh, yeah.
I love your sound, man.
Thank you, man. Yeah. Yeah, it sounds even better when I have the microphone on the reverb.
On the reverb.
Well,
yeah.
Too many things.
Oops. Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I like that tune too. That's a nice little vibey tune. When we get going on that one, it feels really good.
Yeah. Yeah. I like the time signature switch.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That I don't know how. I don't really remember when that happened. It just kind of started happening, and then we're like, oh, okay, let's just do that.
Yeah. I mean, there's only so much 4/4 you can do, or cut time, or
That's true.
you know. And of course, you got your 6/8, your epic tunes in 6/8 or
Yeah.
3/4, and then
Yeah.
you got to switch it up and throw a 7 in there once in a while.
Yeah, we're still waiting for our 7.
For 11-8, man.
Or
Or 11/8, yeah.
Yeah.
Those are hard times. Oh,
We fell on
Which-
hard times with 11-8.
yeah. Yeah, which Tool song is that? Is it 46 and 2? That it's
called-
like 3.
called Martin.
Yeah,
Call Martin.
yeah, it's
Martin.
yeah. That's like 3 measures at 11/8, and then 1 at 13/8.
Of course.
Yeah,
That's a
of course.
logical progression.
Yeah, and to be able to write lyrics on top of that. But
Yeah.
I digress.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. You're listening to Live in the Studio. I'm Gavin Castor, your host here on 100.9 FM WCHq Louisville. We are here till 9 o'clock, and we're going to get to know Zack Stefanski's band. Let's go over to the bass. A lot of you people know this name, Mr. Pat Denny.
Hey there.
I love your bass, too.
Thank you. I do as well.
Yeah,
Feel like
5-string.
Yeah, 5-string to get those really low tones for some R&B. It's like really perfect for that
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I had my buddy D-Man in here at the old studio, and he wrote a song in B, and I had to ask him, did you write that song in B just so your bassist can hit that open string?
Oh,
You know, but it's really cool when you get down, get below the E, and people, oh, okay,
I know it really it presents itself in different ways. Like
Yeah.
I was just in the studio this past weekend with one of my other bands, and there's this I hit this C in one measure, and then
Yeah.
I bring it back in like a couple measures later. It's like over this horn section. I just like
yeah, that's right.
ugh,
Just let it
so
ring.
good.
It's nasty.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, there's just something about that, you know. And you can get a really nice ride going, and all you do is hit that note at the beginning of each measure. You know, you hide it under the snare or under the kick, and it just sounds like a continuous droning
Yeah.
Oh,
hum.
totally.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it sounds beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If you play any other variety, have you ever tried the 6-string bass or a multi-course?
Definitely not
Yeah.
6-string. I have played on one of those 12 strings that's like
A 4-course bass.
yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah.
it's set up kind of like a 12-string guitar or something that
Yeah.
has like the 2 high strings. It's whack.
Yeah.
No. But,
Yeah, and every aspiring bass player, they want to put that on and play the intro to Jeremy.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Boom,
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 boom, boom, boom. Doom, doom. Exactly.
Boom. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, my son, his first instrument is bass. He was 15 years old, and we got him an octave, a whammy pedal, actually,
Yes.
a bass whammy. That's all. That was one of the first things he did. He was a big Tool fan, so he played drop D.
Yeah.
But first thing he did when he brought that whammy pedal home was try that. It was pretty cool.
It's so good. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So what other projects are you in?
Oh,
Denny?
yeah. So this one for sure.
Yeah.
Also have my own project that we're working on an album right now with some of us right now.
Great.
Zach's producing it, and I'm also in Dr. Dundiff and Otis Jr.
Oh
their
my,
band.
yeah.
Wilder Stallions.
Yeah.
We just cut a record in Nashville this past week.
Very nice.
It's like some really cool stuff going on there.
That's some really tricky jazz
Yeah.
stuff.
Oh, totally.
We play it at least once a day we play one of the tracks from Wilder Stallions.
I know. I'm so bummed because I joined the band just after the bassist that was on the first record left. So I'm not on the first one, but I'm on like the live lunch and stuff. I'm trying to think. I've got to be missing something project wise. I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, but yeah, and a couple more.
Because you're working with Touch AC too, right?
Yeah, Touch AC as well. That's kind of lumped in there with the Dr. Dundiff stuff. He's really great.
Yeah,
I play keyboard for them, so
that's a great band. Yeah. I must have missed meeting you live lunch. It was at the mayor's lunch.
Oh yeah, I was at that one. Yeah, I was playing
Otis
the keys for that
Jr.
one.
Yeah,
I love Otis.
Yeah, such a smooth vibe.
Oh yeah,
you know?
I love
his
playing
stuff.
that stuff, man. It's good stuff. Yeah, so I guess I don't know. I'm probably forgetting something. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, if you can remember it, you got a mic.
Yeah, that's true.
Hey,
Interrupt Connor.
Oh. Yeah. Speaking of Connor, we're going to go over to keys. Mr. Connor, how are you?
Doing well.
Good. Good. I love your work. I love the what I really like about your sound. It's minimalist. I want to say minimalist. You know, you don't play a lot of notes. Of course, the reverb helps fill it in, but it's such a really good. It's proof that you don't need to play X amount of notes per second to fill in everything. So,
those first two Zach wrote, so I'm just playing what Zach wrote.
Yeah.
But extremely tasteful. The next two are kind of on the contrary, I would say. It's more maximal, I would say, but still hopefully tasteful.
Definitely. Connor's great at working the keys. Not in a I guess maybe not working the keys as a conventional conventional keyboard player would, but he's very he's fantastic about listening and finding sounds that fit well in this trio of bass, drums, and guitar. And he's also he knows a lot about synthesizers. He's got his own solo stuff that he does as well.
Great.
Just under his own name, and it's all modular synthesizer type
cool.
Art music, and it's all phenomenal. So we're really lucky to have him in here.
So Connor, how'd you get started?
Oh boy.
Yeah.
How did I get started? I mean, in terms of like music, it goes way back. I took trombone in 5th grade. I still play trombone as well. Started. I grew up in St. Louis. Grew up in kind of the DIY experimental scene there. So that really shaped me as a musician. I've kind of owed growing up in that scene to where I'm at now in terms of what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'm kind of all over the place in terms of music.
Yeah. So and it's a different kind of playing because when I was growing up, it was Elton John and Billy Joel, and so the piano, of course, technically speaking, a piano is a percussion instrument, but we played it. I played like a rhythm guitar because I aspired to want to be a guitarist, and so the organ, and you listen to those songs in the '70s, the piano and the organ, they all played like a rhythm guitar. They would bang out the chords to the rhythm of the drum beat, unless you were like Rick Wakeman, somebody like that. With his banks of keyboards, but that's what I like about your playing, Connor. It's not that rhythm; it's the droning notes. It's like you're adding atmosphere to the atmosphere, so you're creating a sonic soundscape instead of something rhythmy. You leave that to the drums and bass.
Yeah, atmosphere is a good word, I think.
Yeah.
Especially for this project and really pretty much everything I do with electronic music and synthesis is about textures, timbres, atmosphere, overall aesthetic. I would say so.
Yeah, it's a sonic painting. That's what I call it.
Yeah, absolutely.
About waves and colors, and I've talked to a lot of musicians, and they say they picture music in their head as like an abstract painting. You know, there's different wave forms and wave shapes and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
So let's get on to the drums. Andrew on drums on our house kit. Yeah. Going great. How do you like our little house kit over there?
Oh, it's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm actually really surprised at the sound and getting out of it.
Yeah. People, they'll walk in and they see the mesh heads and the silent cymbals, and they said, "You got any real heads and cymbals?" But
I can understand their
yeah,
you know,
their skepticisms. Yeah.
I'm not good at words.
Exactly. Well, we got the right kind.
Yeah.
Well, you would say that there's different types of mesh heads too.
Yeah.
There's the practice mesh heads, which have very, very little sound, and then you've got these are more like mic, closed up mic studio work.
Yeah, it sounds good.
Yeah,
totally
good. So how'd you get started? And do you like those 7/8 beats?
Oh yeah, I'm all about
5/4 beats.
I'm all about the weird time signatures. I love them. A lot of the projects I play in though are more groove based and you know, in the pocket.
Right.
I've always wanted to do a project where I can just like let loose, but I'm actually kind of working on some of that myself, but
oh, good.
I don't know when that's gonna come to fruition. But getting started really was just hitting pots and pans, like you know, when I was little. And thanks to my parents who saw that interest and like bought me a drum kit and let me, you know, start banging around in the attic. And I got to give my mom props for putting up with that stuff.
Yeah.
You know, God love her. But yeah, no, it was me and my brother Adam played a lot as kids. We've always been involved with each other. Yeah, I mean, you know, we grew up in a small town, so it was hard to grow as musicians without having each other there.
Yeah.
So, you know, we had to like move away and find
you had to find you had to go somewhere to find musicians and find other
totally. And living here has been probably the most I've grown as a musician in my entire life.
That's good to know.
I've lived here for 5 years, and I can't imagine being anywhere else, to be honest.
Yeah.
I love it here. It's great.
Yeah, I've said this many times, like a broken record. 3 years ago, Time Magazine published the top 25 music cities, and Louisville was number 8, behind Memphis, Tennessee.
Not bad.
So that's pretty cool. Yeah. And I tell everyone who's visiting here, I always tell them, you know, be careful, don't stay too long. You're going to wind up moving here, because it is. It's been voted, you know, in different surveys, the coolest city to live in. Yeah, so the people, and I have many friends who've moved. One friend moved here she was originally from Oregon, and she's lived in Ohio, or Iowa. She's lived in Detroit. And when she moved here, she said the vibe here is just really, really cool. Mm-hmm. She felt it instantly. Yeah. And it's great. It's a great town.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. Yep. In case you're just tuning in, you're listening to In the Studio here on 100.9 FM WCHq Louisville, and we've been doing a lot of talking. Our guest tonight is Zack Stefanski, and the entire band is here, set up through our board, and they sound really amazing, guys. So, what do you got up next for us?
Next song we got coming up is No Place Like You. It's kind of a play on the saying, no place like home and no one like you, I suppose. It's definitely I would say it's more of a love song type of a vibe. Though it's not, I like to think it's not very cheesy. It's open for interpretation.
The love song that wasn't.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, it's just really it's from the newest record off Portland that kind of came to after I visited Portland, Oregon, and had just a wonderful experience with my girlfriend Kayla Bischoff, and so we're gonna play this tune.
100.9 WCHq Louisville. Zack Stefanski and his band. That's a great sound, man.
Thank you.
Yeah. There
Thank
you go. You're like me. I forget to turn the mic back up here.
Yeah. It's hard to remember to do this many things.
Yeah.
That's okay.
That was the one you did for sound check, right?
No,
that was a different one.
That was a different one. Yeah,
That's going to be the next one, right?
But you can kind of see the similarities, at least, with the different direction. Maybe not direction, because it all kind of works together. But like I was saying before, though, that Portland, the record was made without any of my friends' help, or at least them even listening to it. It was just kind of me trying some things out, and so that's why there's such a big difference, I think. But I think it's. I mean, it just sounds great when these guys are on it. In my opinion, I think it's great.
That's great.
I think
it
Pat
does
thinks
sound
so
good.
cool.
Yeah. Great bass work, by the way.
Oh, thank you very much.
I like how you walk up and down and don't play 3 notes.
Cool.
Use that neck, man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and again, the layering, it's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
So what I want to ask you, Zach, when you brought these tunes into the studio with the guys, and how did that feel? Did you start just playing it, or did you let them listen through, and then you start playing together, and then you let Connor work his magic on the synths, and Danny and Pat work his magic?
As long as I've been with these guys for a long time now, and so I can't help but think about them when I'm writing parts, and I don't really want to give them something that I don't think they would enjoy playing. So, and even if I'm not, that's always just kind of a subconscious thought that I have in my writing process. So I knew that they were going to like it. I didn't have any question about that. And so, yeah, we kind of listened to it through, and we discussed the forms, and we kind of talked about, a lot of the synth parts were just kind of improv on the fly, and I thought it sounded cool, and I was like, it doesn't matter. I know Connor's going to do something different live, but it's more about the energy than recreating what is on the record. So, I mean, I knew they were going to make it work really well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Knocked it right into the stratosphere.
Yeah, it definitely takes you up there.
Yeah.
Woo! Woo! There you go.
The benefits of having your own reverb right at your foot.
Yep.
Yeah. So let's talk about. I'm sure a lot of our listeners listened to that song at the particular band.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Influences.
Definitely.
Definitely. I mean, probably most notably, you can hear a little bit of Radiohead.
Yeah. Yeah.
Though I've never listened to Radiohead. I'm just kidding, of course.
Yeah.
Whoops. No, Radiohead.
Go home and water your plastic Chinese trees.
Yes, exactly. I love Radiohead. I got to see them when they performed in Chicago
Very nice.
a couple of years back, which was fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm also a big fan of Grizzly Bear. Big fan of David Bowie.
Yeah.
Big fan of Kendrick Lamar, which I'm sure you can definitely hear that in this stuff.
Yeah.
Big fan of just a bunch of good music, I suppose.
Good stuff.
Lots of stuff, though. I like listening to lots of different things because you never know what's going to inspire you. And so it's good to just kind of open your world to all sorts of music, not close yourself off.
Yeah.
And I feel like people are doing that more and more these days. So it's not so much about making music that people are going to like because people like everything, it seems.
Yeah.
And that's fine. Just trying to do something that sounds like us and that makes us feel good about playing it. And if people like it, that's great. If they don't, then that's fine too. There's nothing I can do about that.
Because it's only 12 notes.
That is true.
Yeah.
Only 12 notes.
But the way you present those 12 notes makes a big difference.
That is true.
Well, I see the common thread in your influences, and people are like, how does Radiohead, what do they have in common with David Bowie? and they all blazed their own trail. They all had their own sound, an undeniable sound. Of course, David Bowie changed. You know, he had his Ziggy Stardust years, and then he had his David Bowie years, and then he had his harder years in the 90s. But they all of those people, you know, blazed their own trail. And it sounds really good, though, that you're you know, it's not all Radiohead. You know, you can hear bits of Radiohead and bits of Bowie and bits of all these others in your music, and it really sounds good.
Yeah, well,
it's a nice recipe, man.
We appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, we spent a lot of time on it, and
Definitely.
it always feels good to play.
Yeah,
That's for sure.
In case you're just tuning in, you're listening to In the Studio here on 100.9 WCHq Louisville. I'm Gavin Castor, your host. Our guest tonight is Zack Stefanski and his band, and we want to take a few moments to talk about the open house event happening April 15th, this Sunday. Zack is one of 4 artists playing, along with Joanne and the Dakota, Jans, and Cut Family Foundation. It's going to be an incredible show. Starts at 2 o'clock p.m. and runs on till the last show wraps up. The last set wraps up around 7 o'clock. And at the end of each set, we are featuring guided tours of the studio. The event takes place at Apocalypse Brew Works on Millwood Avenue, and you can't miss it if you take the I-64, come down I-64, take the Millwood Avenue ramp, and look right. You are right at Apocalypse Brew Works, and we are right across the street and down about 200 feet from it. So at the end of each set, we are going to have groups of people come down to the studio, take a look at our new state-of-the-art equipment, meet the personalities, a lot of us personalities, and a lot of have personality.
Yeah.
We will have a meet and greet tent at Apocalypse Brew Works, and of course the guided tour, a lot of us will be in the studio here as well. So you get to meet and talk with us as well. We'd love to see you, love to get to know you, and become part of the WCHQ family. And again, Zack, kudos to you, man. What's on the horizon?
Well, I'm working on. We're working on a lot of stuff actually. Lots of things on the horizon. We've got, like Patrick was saying, we got a record he's working on, or we are working on together, of all his compositions. Those are crazy, super cool. Connor has a thing, a quartet kind of rock band, a stoner rock band called Ibber that we've been working on, and that sounds fantastic. We've been doing a lot of recording with that too. We were talking about earlier before we came on here. I've been working with a band called Mosquito.
Right.
It's kind of a local.
What's up, Mosquito?
Yeah, Mosquito Boys.
Mosquito. Yes.
Those guys are our faves.
They're great.
We just played. Yeah, what were you saying?
Yeah, I want to, if the guys at Mosquito are listening, Colin Lemure is a good friend of mine from Villa Muir, mentioned how great the album sounds.
Yeah.
And that's congrats to you, but to Mosquito as well.
More so to them, because I just kind of make sure nothing's clipping and send it back to them. Yeah, and then so we were just recording at my house yesterday too, so for something new. So
that's cool.
That's gonna that sounds even better than the last stuff. So they're only getting better and better. It's really nice to be a part of that.
Yeah, they're so tight.
Like
such a tight band.
Yeah, like we were saying, Andrew is working on some stuff as well, and we've talked about collaborating on some of that stuff in terms of the mixing and final prep for that. And then I've also started working on another record. I have no idea when it'll be done. It'll be done when it's done, but I've got some time.
Yeah, after all those other projects.
Yeah, yeah, and then working 40 hours a week too. And,
yeah.
But hey, that's
what you love.
That's what being a musician's about. Is about having no time and having a good time. Well, you keep the brain stays busy. Yeah. The all 18 hours that it's awake. That's a good thing to have. That's a good place to be. Yeah. I've heard that when you start slowing down, that's when things stop happening, or all the or I guess things start going wrong when you start slowing down.
Yeah.
I suppose. So might as well be busy all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that was one thing. I talked with somebody who was really heavy into physical fitness, and I joked, "So you'll die healthy?" And he said, "I'd rather die in really good shape and enjoying life and living it to the full than being someone sitting on a couch and wasting away." So
That is true.
So it's best to, yeah.
But Game of Thrones is still very very good. So there's not much you can do about that one.
And we don't have a treadmill, so
Yeah.
couch it is.
Couch it is, yeah.
So that makes it hard. But that's
Well, binge watching is good. Well, we stay as active as we do. You
Yeah.
know, when you are going 80, 100 miles an hour right up till bedtime, it's okay to take 2 or 3 days and just
veg out.
veg out.
Edge out.
Game of
Veg.
Thrones, yeah. So, yeah, I'm guilty of that too.
Yeah,
So,
we all are.
yeah,
Oops.
Whoa.
Is there echo in here?
yeah, yeah. My mic is really, really hot. It's picking up a lot of room noise. So yeah, Zack Stefanski live in the studio here, and we've got we still have 15 minutes to fill in,
Yeah.
or 10 minutes to fill in.
10 minutes. Okay.
Cool.
Great.
But that's good to hear that you guys are really busy,
Yeah.
really creating.
Yeah, man, it's good. So I guess a little bit about myself too. I'm not
Yeah.
from Louisville. I'm actually from Aurora, Illinois, which is about an hour west of Chicago.
Yeah.
I grew up there, went to high school, and then I came here for school at Bellarmine and got my bachelor's in music technology. Graduated there in 2014, which is where I met Patrick and Connor. We were roommates for a while.
Cool.
Adam, who is Andrew's brother, was going there as well, and that's how we met Andrew as well.
Yeah.
And so, if
So you stayed here more than 3 days, and you got hooked.
honestly, it was dark. I remember it pretty vividly. It was dark when we were driving, my mother and I, to check out Bellarmine and see what it was about, and we kind of came through that really nice the hilly area down Newburgh, and we drove right past to Bellarmine, and I remember looking up and being like, "Oh, this is like Hogwarts. This is super cool."
Yeah.
It's like, I think I'll go here.
Right.
And,
Yeah. You see the Gothic church right
Yeah.
nestled there on top of the hill.
It was
You're right.
cool, and it was just a fit. I just knew that I had to be there, and I'm glad I went there because I met a bunch of cool people and found a city that was a little more my speed than Chicago. While I like Chicago, it's a little too big, in my opinion, or at least for me. Though my brother lives downtown, and I love visiting him, and every once in a while. But it's just not my speed. Louisville's got a lot of really awesome parts and people and different types of things, and everyone's real pumped to be here. It's got a little bit of the southern charm, which I had not really been exposed to living up in Chicago. People are a little more hustly bustle, and get out of my way.
Yeah, get out of my way.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Maybe not so much like New York, but it's still not my speed. And I love bourbon. Can't get enough bourbon.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. But yeah, man, it's great. I'm loving it.
We're glad to have you too.
Thank you.
Love your music, and love your contribution to the music scene too.
Mm-hmm.
You got a good place here, and that's important.
Yeah.
I like to say Louisville is a small town with a big town feel.
Mhm.
Because we do have a lot of major things. Of course, obviously the sports, the basketball, football, but the Actors Theater,
Yep.
the American, and there I go.
Yeah.
The event of the American plays
Yes.
premieres,
Mm-hmm.
and it's known Humana, yeah,
Yeah. That's
and it's premieres every year,
Yep.
and it's a nationwide event,
yeah.
and a lot of great stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So we've just about reached the end of the show, and this is where I give all the credits out. You've been listening to In the Studio live performance right here at 100.9 WCHq Louisville. My name's Gavin Castor, And we are here every Monday at 8 o'clock. And next week, that's what I get for not looking at next week's guest. Oh, great. Next week's guest is Forrest and the Photons. How could I forget that?
Nice.
Very
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Very good. Great
And,
choice.
yeah, the Power Trio has become a
Quartet,
power
right?
quartet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is true.
And I'm really anxious to see that lineup.
A bit of
I've
a
heard a lot of great
personnel
things.
change too.
Yeah, Stuart Wiki, the bassist,
to
is
Ireland.
off to Ireland. Yeah, he's doing quite well too.
Yeah.
He's posting some videos there
Absolutely.
from his mates, and they say he's really good out there. So that's
good.
great.
Glad to hear that.
Yeah, get that, Stuart. If you're listening in, or in the wee hours of the
What's up,
morning.
Hey, Stuart.
What's up?
Hey, Stuart.
But yeah, Nick Hill, Forrest, as he's known, he's excited about the new lineup. They played at the Villamure EP release show, and Colin Lemire said they just absolutely killed it. So
Awesome.
we're really
Great band, man.
really happy to have him. Yeah.
Definitely.
So that is next week, and our producer for tonight's show is Mr. Owen Heritage, making us sound really amazing through there. We would appreciate that. Yeah, finger snaps. And Zach is going to take us out. And again, once again, don't forget our open house this weekend, Sunday, April 15th, 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. Our present guest here tonight, Zack Stefanski, our guest from last week, Joanne and the Dakota. And you can catch that video on our Facebook page and on my in the studio page, along with Jan's and Cut Family Foundation. So it's going to be an incredible party. Come on out, meet and greet everybody, and we really enjoyed it. Hats off to Tony Vanetti and WHAS 11, Great Day Live, for doing a remote here this morning. It was a blast. Thanks so much for all that. So for WCHq and in the studio, I'm Gavin Castor. Peace to you all. Take us out.
All right. This next song we're going to play is called Twitching, off of Portland. It is when you get to know someone really well, you kind of start noticing certain things about them that you just kind of feel grateful for, things that other people just wouldn't know. And I think that's what's really wonderful about being in a relationship, is learning a lot about people. And so this is kind of a song about that, I suppose, kind of learning things about your significant other who that you have that no one else has. Kind of cool.
You're listening to WCHQ-LP, Louisville, Kentucky, 100.9 FM. All local, all community, all the time.